Now, pay talks between labour unions and companies, including AngloGold Ashanti, the world's third largest producer, are set to begin next month. For a discussion on the wage negotiations in the gold sector, I'm joined by Mamokgethi Molopyane, who is a labour analyst. Mamokgethi, thanks for your time this evening. We'll get to the wage negotiations because, of course, big news today, the axing of Zwelinzima Vavi. And one's got to ask the question, what is going on in COSATU?
Well, we have been expecting this to come, and it has been brewing for the past 2 years. So it's not surprising that this has come. A parting of ways, it seems, is inevitable. However, what then becomes the main issue is, where does this leave the workers? Would the now COSATU that is remaining, because people must understand COSATU will still remain, would it still be able to carry out the workers? And who is going to be the Secretary General of the Federation? Remember, the position is always seen as the voice of the Federation, and how that is going to play out indeed remains to be seen. Will the NUM leader become the new Secretary of COSATU, or will they wait for an elective Congress to put in a new one? But more importantly, where does that leave worker issue in this period of wage negotiations?
And that's the issue, right? Who's going to be leading here? We've had the union rivalries during the platinum sector strike, and one of the things that people said was going on at the time was that there were issues within COSATU, within some of the unions in COSATU, that led to workers saying, let's look for an alternative.
Indeed, and we could perhaps see this unfolding as we will later be talking about the coming negotiations in the gold and coal sector. That could also see it happening. I do not expect them to get off the issues that they've been dealing with, which are internal organizational issues. I do not expect them to park them and say, let's park them for a while and focus on workers' issues. That means workers' issues, again, are going to be neglected for a while up until they rebuild and restructure themselves. That will really have an impact on COSATU at a lower level, because it is those workers who will decide, do we stay when our issues are not being attended to, or do we look for a new home, or form or prescribe a new order, so to speak, because they have the right as workers to do so.
So what are the salient issues now for these gold and coal sector negotiations?
Look, for them it's mostly about get back to the negotiation table, start, proceed, and see how that unfolds. But remember, where there is chaos amongst workers, employers are more likely to take advantage of. But more interesting, perhaps now that it has become clear Vavi is expelled, is will the NUMSA that is outside COSATU's binding rules try and form alliance with AMCU and join in these negotiations. Do remember, AMCU might not be big in the gold sector, but at the top 3 local gold producers, they are the main union. And that is going to add some spice into this negotiation, where previously it was the NUM leading the unions on behalf of the workers and the Chamber of Mines. AMCU is emerging at the top 3 gold producers, and they have been making a groundway at the coal sector. Their silence lately publicly has been because for most of the time they've been mobilizing in these 2 sectors and trying to really take over, so to speak, of all the mine sector activities.
What sets apart the gold sector from what we saw with platinum, that in the gold sector there's the collective bargaining system. Do you think this strike, or not the strike, this round of negotiations is going to be the real test for the strength of collective bargaining at this stage?
It is, at the time, by the way, where we are seeing the withering of institutionalized collective bargaining, that the current framework cannot respond to the challenges raised. Now, we know that at the gold, it has always been done through the Chamber of Mines, very structured, very cordial, very well handled, and very pushing forward the interest of the workers. However, that might change now that AMCU is dominant in the gold producers that are going to be negotiating through the chamber.
Going to be interesting. Thanks for your time today. Mamokgethi Molopyane is a labour analyst.